Good afternoon. Welcome back to Love, Sex, and Money. It's Christine Regan Lake. Nice to be here. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to do that. I'm trying to get my message out to those who want and need to hear it. And don't forget to hit the bell button so you'll be notified when I upload new content, which I'm constantly doing, just trying to provide as much value to people that I can. Okay, so what are we going to talk about today? Today, I want to talk to you about what it's like to love an HSP. And for those who don't know what an HSP is a highly sensitive person. Now, I know that initially someone might think that's like kind of a cliched term or that it's, someone just being dramatic, but they've actually done research on it and found out it's actually true that about 15 to 20% of the population are highly sensitive people. And what that means is if someone is a highly sensitive person, it means that their nervous system is hardwired differently than other people. Their nervous system is almost like imagine that you've just bought a very, very high end stereo. And that high end stereo, the speakers and the record and all of those things, everything is going to create an experience that is much more um, profoundly impactful. The speakers are going to give you detail that is things, you're going to hear the nuances of music that you wouldn't hear with another set of speakers, or the record player is going to pick up the slightest little imperfection in the record if you're playing a record, things like that. A highly sensitive person's nervous system is acutely attuned to the stimuli around them. Now, it can be a blessing and it can be a curse. So one way in which it's a blessing, if you watch my videos, you know that I'm a healer and I do healing work. And so when I am connecting with someone, over the phone or in person, my physical body can feel their emotions. I'm actually an HSP and an empath, so I actually absorb other people's emotions. And because of that, because I know what they're feeling, it helps me to navigate when I'm doing a healing session. But sometimes, so that's a beautiful blessing. And it's also a beautiful blessing in the sense of, when I experience Mother Nature or when I'm experiencing love, like the depth of what I feel is so incredibly intense. I mean, it's just overwhelming. Mother Nature can bring me to tears. An article can bring me to tears that I think is beautiful or inspiring and things like that. So, I mean, that part is a huge, huge blessing, and I'm very grateful because it basically it allows me to live my life in a very rich, full color, sensorial experience. The challenge, though, is that what is a blessing can also be a curse in the sense of when you are exposed to harsh environments, negative people, toxic people, and things like that. So one thing you want to remember if you love someone who is an HSP, never yell at them. Do not yell at an HSP. When you yell at an HSP, it's going to, that negativity and that anger, they feel all of it. They'll even if you don't even think you're raising your voice that much, but you have an incredible intensity of energy, that HSP is going to pick up on all of that intense energy that you have, that, if you're angry about something, they're going to feel it in their physical body. So in terms of how it's received for them, is that if you're just even talking loudly and you're really angry, it's going to feel like they're being screamed at because their physical body is picking up on not just your words, it's picking up on the intensity, the energy of what you're actually feeling, in terms of that anger, rage, resentment, whatever it is. So it's really important to have command of your own emotional state when you're communicating with an HSP, because you have no idea how sensitive their body is. So if you're screaming at them, you can really trigger fight or flight for them. And it can be, and the challenge is that if you habitually do this, if you habitually speak harshly or yell at someone who is an HSP, their natural defense mechanism is to distance themselves from you, both emotionally and physically, to protect their own physical body, their energy body, and their emotional state. Because essentially, what their subconscious mind perceives is this: I am not safe with this person. So if I'm not safe with this person, then to protect myself, I need to create physical space, I need to create distance emotionally, and I need to protect myself because I can't trust them to keep me safe. So that's a really important one to understand about loving an HSP, is learning how to, when you are frustrated or upset in some manner, that when you are communicating that to the person that you love who's an HSP, that you have to level up your own emotional capacity to be in command of your emotions. And if you love them, obviously it might be a growth opportunity for you, but it's what is required if you don't want to push the person you love away. And it's really interesting because I had an experience several years ago, when I was working on a project with somebody. It was an entrepreneurial project for something that I was doing, and I was meeting with this consultant like pretty much every day for 2 months. And this person was a very angry, negative person. And what actually ended up happening was I ended up putting on 10 pounds, and this is very common for empaths. My subconscious mind was so clear that this anger and this negativity that I was being forced to deal with every day for like 2 months was a threat. And so my physical body, my subconscious mind, packed on 10 pounds as like a physical barrier to insulate my energy field and my nervous system from this person's energy. And then when the project was over and I wasn't seeing them, anymore, the weight slowly came off. So it was my physical body's defense mechanism to being subjected to someone who was such an angry, negative person that I was having to, deal with, like 30 hours a week or something like that for 2 months. So this is a real thing. This actually happens. It's not, like this HSP situation isn't like imaginary. There's real physical, consequences that happen in terms of when an HSP is, engaging in life. And it was interesting because I was just in Vegas like 2 weeks ago, or no, a week ago, I guess, a week ago, and I was having dinner kind of in an open area or whatever, and I was facing all of the gaming machines, and we were having a relaxed dinner, and it was really nice. And then we had finished our meal, but we were still chatting, and next thing you know, I just like stood up with my pocketbook, and I just looked at my friend, and it was like, I gotta go. Like, I basically, like that, my physical body had reached a peak point of being able to deal with all of that stimuli that my nervous system was being assaulted with. And it was just kind of like, I was okay, I was okay, I was okay. And then all of a sudden I wasn't. I passed the threshold of my physical body being able to deal with the noise and the lights and the chaos and whatever. And I didn't mean to, but I think it might have come off rude. I didn't mean it that way, but that's what it was. It was a gut reaction to me reaching the point of I couldn't handle the lights and the noise and the sound and the chaos anymore. I just had to get out of there and get into a quieter, peaceful, more silent environment. So these things are really important to understand. HSPs also understand that someone who is an empath and an HSP, they not only is their nervous system like hyper attuned to the stimuli in the environment, but um, their emotional kind of mindset is they're always very concerned about the people around them, making sure that that person's taken care of, that things like that. So just always know that they're always wanting to do the right thing. And so you don't have to be harsh with them. and maybe there might be misunderstanding. So it's really important to talk. I mean, communication is important for anybody, but definitely to an HSP, because how you communicate with them will really tell them whether or not you are someone they can trust, and that that they are someone that they can feel safe with, and that's super, super important. Also, in terms of HSPs, be very conscious of physical touch. Everybody's got a different threshold of tolerance for what they love. Some HSPs love physical touch, and it's a primary love language. But I'll say, and it's really important to always have consent, to make sure that they feel comfortable with, whatever pace you're going at. It's remember that if you can just remember that their body is like a very expensive piece of equipment that needs special handling instructions that will serve you well. So just something to think about. I just wanted to share that with you, because these things are they're quite impactful to the HSP. And I was on the same trip in Vegas. There was actually a noise coming underneath the door, and it was almost like sounding like a wind coming in under the door jamb. And to be honest with you, I heard it once. I heard it, and it was just kind of this ever-present sound. It really started triggering like low-level anxiety for me, and it kept me up the first night completely. I didn't even sleep. But then my friend figured out to put like a towel underneath, and it completely stopped the noise. And the minute the noise stopped, I could feel my body just immediately go, oh. It was like an exhale, and I was like, thank God. And then my body could slowly start to relax again. Noises, lights, chaos, frenetic energy, too much things going on, and HSP is very sensitive. So it's all about, HSP is really like like a nest. Like for me, my house is like my safe little haven, and I like to be very organized. I don't like even seeing messy chaos that causes stress, right? So having a very serene, organized environment is very calming and soothing to an HSP's body. And so anyway, those were just some of the things that I wanted to share with you. I hope you found value. If you are not aware, I do have a link in my description box to Operation Underground Railroad. It is my intention to raise $1 million to rescue children from human trafficking, and I hope you feel inspired to potentially donate to them. Every penny goes directly to them, and I would so appreciate it if you felt compelled to do that. These children need our love and leadership to rescue them. Have a beautiful day, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.